Welcome to our future humans as we roll on out with some more self-empowering talks for spiritual and personal growth. Intelligent minds and hearts, they marry spirit and science with discernment. So that means wise, good judgment, equanimity, common-centeredness, which comes from our body and connection, and emotional mastery, which is why we use mindful mindset practices in your daily life with the paid and free content and the lives. We're going to have a couple lives where we chit chat about the mystic mentor life here and just functional or child adult life. So when you have no sensitive ego, you still have a sensitive ego, but it's not sensitive in a way of being broken hearted, which is why our future humans use intelligent minds and open hearts. Because we do understand securely attached and non-traumatized people all have that, which is called an empowered day-to-day life. Empowerment looks the same on the external as the internal, because there's not really something that will come and make us behave in ways that we would be shameful about. And shame is actually for the people who don't heal, and the ones who don't heal don't feel that they have the strength. They feel helpless. So when someone thinks that what others do to us is a reflection not of our worth but of a person's character, it's not their character, it's their actual adaptive child part. And their adaptive child part is an immature fight response that is angry, distrusts humanity and all adults, is judgmental towards themselves and others, and will spite everyone by saying the fuck you suicide. So fuck the world. And when I hear people talking about the system, that's why I think those are the same teenagers that I was a teenager too. And then I realized that even though anarchy is a type of system, government-wise, it is not one that all people know will be fine because they're afraid of our brothers and sisters. I'm not. Because there's no Lucifer, there's no evil in the way of philosophical religious textbooks with demonic spirits. There's people who are on a scale of Michael Stone, the forensic criminologist, and they all end up in prison, except for the 7 to 16 charming, and then when it's no prison, it's mediocre, ignorant conspiracy theorists or evil narrative stories, or people being idiots as they get older, talking about Lucifer and evil and wanting to, break the law. And I'm thinking, how are you going to make it better? So, intelligent minds and hearts, again, we marry spirit and science because I know who God is, discerning, equanimous love, Jesus, Holy Spirit. Also know Akash, source, grace as a mystic. Then I also know smart intellectuals, so I don't do pseudo-intellectual. The pseudo-intellectuals I make fun of, but they're needed too, because they are there to pat on the back the other flat earthers and the other groups who are going to stay in self-righteous anger, the trauma charges, and the idiocy of superheroes and supervillains. And I said idiocy because, again, when you are a person who's grounded in reality, all your cherishable beliefs could be falsifiable, but also when you're a spiritual master, guru, enlightened one, spiritual influencer, prophet, expert yogi, and spiritual master. Did I mention that? Yeah. So you definitely know that intelligence comes with mindful minds and bodies in connection with the frequency of love, and that's it. You don't have the real ones the ones of the year 2025 moving forward. I'm just saying, so when we meet self-righteous small frequency and the ones who say it's Luciferian era, we have to prove spirituality, those people are really afraid that science can disprove God. I don't think it's that. I really don't. I think that they just want to keep a word in a box and then put it on a pedestal and allow themselves to be on it, and then for us to potentially from below look above that. What's funny about people who are adaptive child part and their pseudo-aliveness, and I'm not trying to be mean, it's just they don't want therapy. They actually go on screen. I've seen this before, the mystics, the 4D, 3D collective, and besides their way of totally not noticing that they don't have mastery over their body or their mind, it's very sad. No integrated brain, no body in VVS, and that's why they get completely wasted and tired, meaning their energy is flatlined. So while I can have too much and therefore my panic attacks, and I'm like trying, because I'm 4'9". You learn how the energy body expands itself too. I have a couple of courses or more. So my point is, though, the ones who don't notice that they could be doing way better here, yeah, they completely just do this thing, and they start yelling at you, and then they start, I'm going to wish upon, and you just think, wow, El Dorado on a screen. And I'm not kidding. I saw this person who thinks that they're really, really like an ancient master one, and as they're describing what their teacher went through, I thought of El Dorado, and then I said, I've had people in my energy sphere, and I am an Akashic record reader. I've astral traveled. I still do. I do all of it. It's all here. Yep. And I have not ever had any issue. Get the fuck out of my space. Oh, you got to be kidding me, right? Wow, what are you going to grab from my brain? Are you grabbing anything? Do you not realize you're your own vessel? No matter what you fucking grab, you're going to use your own words. Oh my God, wow, really, this is hilarious. No, it's not. It's insulting and disrespectful, but it is hilarious. That's how it feels for an enlightenment soul age group 5D mystic who knows who God is, and that's one of the reasons why I didn't get into spiritual bypassing. It's very straightforward. You're all children of God, so I don't get confused with words. I just use all of them. And when I meet self-righteous ones, well, God reminds me how not to bother with any of it, because it's none of my business. And that's why I can be and do, because everything's going to be okay. That's what faith means. It's not, I hope. No, I know. Faith also means that if I'm meant to physically die, it's okay. It'll happen. But God does remind me that I won't be now. So I continuously ask. That's one of the questions I always ask. Am I going to grow old and like really old and healthy? Like, can you tell me? So, just letting you know, yes, I will. And I will be back on Earth. Okay, so the intelligent minds. They might not sound so intelligent to all of you, but it's okay. Stick around. Come on. I'm a woo-woo pseudoscience lady. I know that. I'm okay with it. I won't give up my clears. Why would I ever close my channel? It's not anything negative. And because I'm grounded in reality, I can respect those who are disrespectful to me and their own actual academics. Because scientists who know everything are not true scientists at all. And pseudo-intellectuals who say, they don't like the facts. Do they? They don't like the facts. So are you playing with your children that follow you and bow down to you, master? Because whenever you meet an adoptive child part, they think that people who speak have some kind of authority. How dare you dismantle? Who? Your queen, your king? Who are you telling me knows everything? Because I don't know everything. And that's why it's not happening. So teenagers are always teenagers. They're insecure, afraid, and I thought that they would grow up to be better. I was not this. I did do the coward's game. I said, I'm sorry to God. Yep. And then I kept being Maria, and that's it. And I apologized, yes. And then I didn't get to apologize in all the ways, but I did apologize. That's what happens when you do understand imperfections and flaws, but you choose to have integrity and to not treat people in ways that you won't be proud of again and again and again. Is that hard to do, mediocre? People seem to have a very hard time knowing how to use their actual manners, especially when they get into self-righteousness, and then they want to control the floor, and then you got a bunch of them controlling the floor. And that's why empowerment, when it doesn't look like it's happening because every single inch of their insecure attachment wounded parts will totally notice once they're done. And then this thing happens. I love it when the people who think about things don't really think about them clearly, and then they don't get what they want either. Yeah, and then they continuously do the silent treatment. It's really funny. Silent treatment means nothing to a person who is actually a grown-up. It only means something to a person who is not a grown-up and thinks they are, and then they say, they don't look at you. It'll erode your confidence. Only insecure people have their confidence eroded by someone. But I have a superpower, so I'm a twin. And therefore, I don't ever feel alone. And I actually am grown up enough to notice how many emotionally immature people don't really care about the people around them, because they only want to be hugged. They don't want to do the work. So when they do bad manners, they don't actually think, wow, did I hurt someone's feelings, or am I actually talking shit? Like, the superficial mind is quite mediocre for a reason. It's very uninteresting. It's not about gossiping or not gossiping. I just think how small that must be? I don't know, like monkey brain. Oh, that's right, monkey brain, butterfly, dull brain. I forget. There's those types of brains, and then there's also the enamored with oneself, and then there's the one focused. They're cut off from Purusha, pure consciousness, Prakriti, pure energy. And they will call themselves Zen master, and I will know they're not a Zen master. So spiritual masters, the true type, don't suffer life. They will be able to explain to you how you can expand. And if it stays philosophy, that's why then they will all just create another group of suffering human beings who will tell you how hard life is. Then, you notice that they definitely embody the spirituality soul age group, but they don't move into the enlightenment one. And that's because they spend a lot of time doing things that make me think, wow, to learn how to master the element of water, you actually went ahead to go in. I'm not going to describe what I heard, because as I'm hearing that, I'm like, that is not something I would have wanted to remotely spend my entire life doing. And that doesn't sound satisfactory. I mean, I like to walk with people and deal with the emotionally immature, to be deluded than to do what I heard this person did, because seriously, that's why I would not live in the middle of nowhere. Not joking. But people who would and do, that's why they like the whole Buddhist philosophy, because they still suffer life. He left his town because he saw all the poor people. That's why I didn't have anything to say except for, I'll read you later, Siddhartha. That's why I make fun of him, and he makes fun of me. And I say, but you left. Jesus came back. And he then got crucified. I mean, really, if I need to look up, I'm sorry, Buddha, I look up to Jesus. I can't look up to someone who sat under a tree, but I know that your eventual vagal portfolio of toning exercises, that you provide a safe haven, secure base opportunity, and then people, if they want to become the actual everything that you will have given them, then they will walk with the people, talk with the people, learn to differentiate, and learn to not judge sadness laundry Zen master and call themselves Zen master, and not notice that science explained how to use the brain, that they don't know how to use the brain yet. The window of tolerance gets expanded when you're using your prefrontal cortex. 90 seconds is what an emotion lasts. Those who don't believe it, they haven't achieved the successful rate. It's like running a mile. Why do I have to run a mile? Although I should probably try to get that going as I get older. And really, because sometimes I do think about the bear. The fact that I'm not physically fit makes that bear capable of eating me a lot sooner than others. But maybe because I'm so small, yeah, maybe I can hide in a corner somewhere. I don't know. So point is, though, what I was trying to get to is that definitely the 90 seconds, something that I work with, and you still have the depths of the emotional plane. So when people don't have the depths of their selves, they don't know how to manifest, they don't know how to be empowered, they don't know anything about the mindfulness community, let alone the wellness one. In fact, they think that we are pretending not to scribble on walls. We don't need to scribble. We got gifted this life. Why would we scribble? So when people don't know how to handle their emotions, they think that the journey has to be full of ups and downs and merry-go-rounds. And no, it's not thinking. That's how they feel. If you feel emotions and thoughts as hard, that's why people feel that way. My body doesn't feel that way. It's a body that's in connection, ventral vagal state. I'm not a sensitive ego. I'm an ego who's sensitive, but it's okay, Maria. And guess what? I have empowered masculine and empowered feminine. And I have empowered everything's around me. So I know exactly how all is going, because the moment of truth is when shit hits the fan. You're going to find who is empowered like you to stand with you. Safe haven, secure bases. So retaining freedom. And let me think, how much of this am I going to read? I'm going to read. This is something Sadhguru wrote. And I want to bring the human element to it. I'm trying to find the spot. There's a moment of silence. I know I don't do this often. Hold on a minute. This was not it. There's a part that a system. A system that has found ways to manipulate groups to vote en masse. The masses, like Schopenhauer points out, appeal to a large audience. I see it all the time on YouTube. They're all the morons that I'm making fun of right now that follow some idiot who says it's dangerous to have no emotions because they don't know how to do their own emotions, and yet they won't go to therapy with Patrick Tian. I have no fondness of mediocrity. I have definitely respect for people. I've noticed a bunch of them don't do any of going to therapy. And then when I get told by some of the experts that we need to leave it alone because some people might want to stay traumatized, they say, excuse me, you think I'm going to leave alone once you've told me that their body is headed in that direction anyways? What they do when they're traumatized is bullshit. And then they want to crap on what? A monster that doesn't exist, and I get to be able to observe mediocrity on a screen. So it's not the system that's flawed. The system is made by the people for the people. It doesn't matter what you will have implemented. I know exactly why we find ourselves where we find ourselves, which is one of the reasons why I don't talk about politics at all, because I already knew this a long, long time ago. I can still remember when Maria's heart could see, and the day I saw, I said, wow, my heart has been broken. You are another one of the liars. And wow, like the cloak people, you're going to go right over here, because what happens when a person who knows the truth sees a liar? Liar, liar, pants on fire. Wow, self-righteous, rage, emotionally immature, stupid, cognitive dissonance, structural dissociation. I think I can keep moving forward with my interest in who I'm going to help. So it doesn't surprise me when I see the masses still on another wheelhouse. The mystics, they're hilarious. Every now and then they come up with the 144,000. Now I know numbers mean something in numerology. I actually also know that we have, I think it's 114 chakras in our body, something like that. So I know that there's numbers. What I also know is if you need a narrative to figure out how to continue walking in life, that you're not yet your own empowered piece of anything. You're still a child. Good boy, good girl. Go follow your books and your leaders and your masters. You have no communion with God. You don't even know Akash and its sound yet. And you apparently don't know that the left brain comes online by the second or third year of life. And all of those words mean nothing to a person that knows what the frequency is of intelligence and consciousness. So when I hear stupidity, my brain, because it's a prefrontal cortex, will hear it, assimilate it, notice what the golden nuggets are, put it over here, put the other trash over there, and then say, okay, we're headed just great and dandy, because you know God, he always wins. So really, I don't have to do anything. And that's why for me, Buddha was not someone that I looked up to, because he left a town full of suffering people. I don't leave the towns of suffering people. I don't also pat them on the back, though. So if I'm going to see anyone being a moronic idiot, I'm not going to be like, oh, wow, yeah, you're right. No, you're not. Systems change because that's how it's always been. Grounded in reality people don't need buffoonery stories. They actually invest their time, that which is will make a difference. Those who think yelling is what makes a difference, they're just getting it off their chest. And definitely every person will be who they want to be, which is why you have free will, which is also why no, not everybody moves into the Enlightenment Soul Age group like the Zen Master's laundry, and he'll be there for the other Zen Masters who want to call themselves Zen Masters. I'll think, wow, if I were in front of you, I wouldn't say shit, but on a screen, I can tell you, Zen Master, you're mediocre at best. Zen is not something you know how to do. Master, you definitely are not, because you don't even know how to master your own body, which makes me very much sad for you, because you took the one thing that was the most important out of all as you live life out of the equation, and you want me to think you're what? Come again? Did you just say smart? You know wellness is a top priority for any smart human being with moderation, because you know, getting sick, it's actually going to cost you money. No, because cirrhosis of the liver, because a lot of things, because anytime I meet anyone who disregards how they wake up in the morning and think, I'm just like, wow, and you think you're smart. I see. Ego, blinded like always, very buffooned by its own self, the same moronic teenagers I met. And I didn't have any kind of, what was the word? I am a lot more, I'm going to use the word, I don't have a word. I'm going to leave the word out. I will say that I have consistently not mingled and tingled with mediocrity. And the only reason I have any of it in my life at times is because of other people, not me. That's why people say that I'm a snoot. I say no. They say selective. I say yes. And then I say, why? Do you hang out with all people? Because it was under my understanding that we're supposed to hang out with people we enjoy. Why would I want to hang out with people who get themselves in trouble, don't know how to actually be moderate? They drink, fuck, do drugs that I don't want to be around in ways that are completely absurd. As you get older, it gets even more distasteful, ridiculous. In college, I'm like, okay, you don't have to do any of this shit. Aren't you here to learn? You're spending money and you're not learning. And what are you going to do with your life? You're lawyers, cocaine. You're hypocrites. You're not lawyers. You're such gullible. No, I'm not. You're the idiot who thinks lawyers are supposed to do cocaine. In the meantime, I'm thinking, what the fuck's wrong with everyone? I have no interest in doing any of the drugs. And when I get made fun of by grown-ups, I just think, wow, that's hilarious. Sure, keep making fun of me. In the meantime, I'm wondering, again, the clarity is not mine to be navigating. It's for the buffoons who live life in ways that are mediocre at best, ignorant at top, and with stories for themselves. And with a teenager attitude that has no adolescent essence, because your body is tired by the minute as you get older. Plus your brain, you don't even know how to wield two sides of it, because it's only if you're mindfully using two sides that you'll become a self-aware, a self-accountable, self-regulating master. So when they lack responsibility because they think that their projection of self-righteous anger is somewhere right, sure, keep talking. There's plenty of stories Sadhguru has shared. Ignorance is that. And anybody who suffers doesn't know how to actually empower themselves. While you may have learned from suffering, great. If you did learn from it, then you don't suffer anymore. You'll be able to experience life without the suffering part because you're using your brain in the prefrontal cortex. Otherwise, you won't be spiritually or personally growing at all. Therefore, you will not have learned from suffering. And now we have a helpless little narrative going on where you're just dragging around a pain point and you're on the same stagnating frequency for the rest of your lifetime. Sadhguru shares it with this story. He says, life will keep trying to get you to live life, and by the time you're done, you might be crawling on one leg. I'll give it to you, humanly speaking. A person who has a modulated or dysregulated embodied self with shame, blame, fault, revenge will be eating away at its own self with self-loathing, gut-wrench, torn apart. The survival mode actually is distress and a lot more. Neuroception, Dr. Amy Apigan has a way she describes this thing. I forget it, but she's being interviewed. I'm like, wow, okay. And then there's this guy, he's a Catholic or Christian or something about Jesus and Christianity, and he talked about this way of looks, and as he's saying it, I'm like, yeah, I got it. This doesn't trick any person of true faith. I totally can tell the difference between an authentic, transparent human being versus one who's an idiot, because that's what a coward looks like. So I will make sure that anyone who doesn't understand fear is a coward's game, there's healing for it. It's called therapy. People who don't want it don't have to. They can continue doing their other stuff. I totally understand what it means when God doesn't give you more than what you can bear, and then I totally understand how science gives everybody a solution to something that their embodied brain is already headed towards. You know why I know it's true that the body is headed towards love? Because that's what God is made of. So there is not a lie in anywhere when it's leading itself back home, but I also know that love lives with fear, because that's emotions for you, because we got dark matter, dark energy. My embodied brain is going to continue to need to live. It's not going to be in the absence of a nervous system. So again, humanly speaking, I don't need a story for us. For us, it's very clear. Shame came. It still can be around. It can be used, but we're no longer cavemen and cave women and cave days, although we do have some. And the ones who think that we've complicated life, we've not complicated it. It's just people aren't masters of their inner world. They don't own their child parts. So we get to see children running the streets as grown-ups being buffoons. Tom and Jerry, are you having a good time? And they want to call it suffering and evil. And I'm just going to say, no, pathologies. Pathologies on a wheelhouse with parents who made all these children. And those parents were all emotionally immature, traumatized, continuing that trauma. And there you go, the ripple effect. It's very straightforward to me. All the homes. It's not character. Where's your home? Did they teach you how to be compassionate and how to be consistently with integrity and how to not use your hands, use your mouth, don't curse, respect others, and learn what it looks like to be an actual human being who has that which is called integrity? If you can't say something nice, you don't say anything at all. You stand in the presence of a buffoon and you allow yourself to be the one that has the manners, and then you allow the cheap shots and the bullshit to come out of the mouth of the morons that are in front of you. Get up and you leave and you thank them for their time. And that isn't because I'm making fun of you. No, it's because the minute you'll be ignorant, your ears are flopped down, you're not hearing me, and self-righteous energy is going to continue to seep through every single one of the bones of the people who don't hear you are not, and not you, but when they don't want to hear that they are unhealthy. The modern day therapists are trying to imprison you. I'm going to dismantle them. Are you? With one little finger, and every single person who flocked to that cauldron and the lovely lack imagination for evil human beings, sure, keep flocking to the morons who sell you the story that you want to hear, because you've chosen that you decide who the group is that is good and who the group is that is bad. And here's the I'm in communion with God, where I don't play God. And no Lucifer, just a bunch of kids being idiots together, giving each other names. It's called in and out group. There's our human evolution. Oh, look, now they've come up with some new words for, what's hilarious is people using the same political parties of yesterday. I'm thinking it's not yesterday. You realize this, right? You brainwashed each other to use words in however many different ways. And the people who think, again, that it's a playing, the little puppeteer masters, that makes me laugh even more in my asshole. Because I remember learning exactly when what bleeds leads became a thing in journalism, and I asked my professor, so the journalists didn't give a shit about, I didn't curse in class, I'm just now being all in my feels. They didn't care about the profession that they decided to do with honor. So the journalists chose to disregard having honor, and they decided to do, okay. Oh, also I did a paper on power corrupts. Nope. All those people had trauma. So power is one of the things that corrupts, but it wasn't the actual root of the corruption. The root of the corruption is that the people who were treated like little pieces of shit in their own homes. You see, this is how it may be. By insulting someone, you get them to actually get reactive. Do you think it'll help anybody to really see themselves through? No, it won't. That's the whole point of why you don't do any of this, because the only ones who actually will notice anything are the same ones who will care about their own species. That doesn't make them more divine or less divine. It actually isn't any of that. And when people want to decide for other people why they would make a choice or not, it's like, okay, you must be disregarding, once again, you don't own the body, you don't own the brain, you don't own the self. You have not walked one day in the shoes of another human being, yet you think you can cast that stone and judge someone, versus I have a subjective opinion that is very much full of emotions. Effective realism, blinders, again, strong emotions, truth. Which is why when someone says, what do you believe in? Excuse me. It's just a trick question, because I believe in God. And you ask me about subject matters, that's a conversation. It's not about belief. The word makes me think of magic. I can believe in mysticism because I live it and experience it. And that's why respect is not proof. There's no proof. This word proof just means that you're looking for school. Go to school. Go take tests. Go write a paper. Go do the proof. Don't be in front of me. I'm literal. And when people say, but maybe you could be, no, I'm literal. I'm cool with that, because honestly, at the end of the day, what words you choose to use makes me aware of who I'm dealing with. And if I got a person who needs proof, then I got a left brainer who's an idiot in front of me, and I'm going to prove shit to you, because you're the first, not last idiot that I have to deal with, because of ignorant human beings who are mediocre, actually. When people look up to mediocrity, I really don't have fondness for the masses. I never did, never will, never have, and I won't. But luckily for us, the future does look bright. Dharma, way better than karma, that's for sure. Buddha, you'll still have a place with your suffering bit, just a lot different than what it used to be. And as for those of you who are new, welcome aboard. Like, share, and subscribe. It is a great day, and hopefully we'll have some lives as well. Have a good one.